Hello mga kababayan, welcome to my channel. Welcome to Laruan ni Obi-Wan. From the Eternals, the new Marvel Cinematic Universe movie which would be at theaters on November 5, we have Ikaris from the Eternals. So this figure has been on shelves already for about a week. And it has been really just stacking up on shelves, and nobody has been really taking interest on these figures. Personally, I also had very limited interest in it because I didn't have any background with the Eternals characters. So before purchasing this figure, I still had to research about the Eternals. So instead of just getting the whole wave of from the Eternals lineup, I just got the most interesting character in that wave, which is Ikaris. The other reason why I chose the Ikaris figure to purchase out of the Eternals lot would be this is the figure from the lineup that had a very exposed leg. Majority of the action figures from the Eternals wave wore skirts. So the women wore skirts, the men wore skirts, and the Ikaris figure was the only figure that did not wear a really lengthy attire. So this figure had really exposed legs, which means that he has more points of articulation and posability. So let's examine this Ikaris figure by Marvel Legends for the Eternals Marvel Cinematic Universe. So right out of packaging, when I handled this figure, the first thing that I really noticed were the pinless joints. So pinless joints on the elbow area, pinless joints on the knee area. As for if the entire or the rest of the wave have pinless joints, I really can't say because I only purchased this Ikaris figure out of the lot. So next thing that I also noticed was the lack of articulation on the waistline. We don't have any point of articulation on the waistline except for the diaphragm area. So majority of articulation points would be just over here for the body area. But for the rest of the appendages, the arms and the legs, we have standard Marvel Legends articulation. And I'm happy to report that this is the figure that I decided to purchase because of this area over here, which gives me more articulation on the leg, because I wasn't sure whether this skirt piece would be a whole plastic covered area, and I was glad that it is not. Actually, there's a break on the skirt piece over here which exposes the leg more for articulation and posability. As for details, this is a really nicely detailed figure. I really like the color and the patterns on the suit of armor that Ikaris wears. And of course, a majority of the collectors would really complain about the back area lacking paint detail. But for customizers like me, well, that is just a welcome spot where I could just add my own detail work with regards to the color that I want to really panel line on the back of the figure and the rest of the body actually. because there is just, for example, on this shoulder ball, we have paint over here, gold silver paint. What with the rest of the panel lines, we don't have any paint detail. So for the forearm gauntlets, we have paint on the sides of the forearm gauntlet and the boundaries, but for this area, that is still a paintable spot. So well, depends on, of course, on the purchaser or the collector. Well, as for me, I really have a nice looking figure, and I still have room to add my own color scheme or touch to it, making it my own personal Ikaris figure. The Ikaris figure also comes with an extra pair of hands, a relaxed pair of hands, or maybe possibly a flight pair of hands. So you could either swap the left or the right for a flight pose. So let's take a closer look at the Ikaris extra head sculpt that comes with this figure. So we have that eye effect, wherein possibly the Ikaris character is preparing to shoot beams from his eyes. For the head sculpt that comes attached to the figure in box, there is a certain resemblance to the actor who played the character. The other thing that I also noticed out of these Eternals action figures, not just this Ikaris figure, but the rest of the action figures for this Eternals wave, is they are a little bit smaller and less bulkier than the previous releases by Hasbro of these Marvel Legends characters. So for example, compared to the Shang-Chi, with regards to bulk of the body, and of course compared to the Captain America, they're a bit skinnier and lankier than the rest of the Marvel Legends action figure releases. So we have the Diamond Select John Wick figure, which I previously reviewed, and we have the Ikaris figure, which by Hasbro, which we are reviewing right now. So I was just thinking, and I just hope that Hasbro presented these Ikaris figures or the Eternals wave in this John Wick scale by Diamond Select. It would have been really amazing to have all this detail in that kind of sculpt. So even if it lacked accessories, just extra hands or possibly an extra head, it would have been these figures would not be a peg warmer if it was presented possibly in this scale, because all of that detail would really shine in this body sculpt and this height of a figure. So just a personal observation or a make, we have a $16 toy and we have a $20 toy. So those were my review points for this Ikaris figure. So let us go to the photos and the video shots.